Welcome to Looking at Legal Stuff. Today we have part 4 of a case with a couple whose newborn child was removed by CPS after the hospital reported alarming behavior by both of the parents in this case. They're worried about Mom's cognitive abilities after she made strange statements in the ER and was unable to follow basic directions from hospital staff about diapering and feeding the baby. They're also worried about her ability to bond with the baby and her lack of any prenatal care. The hospital also has grave concerns with Dad over his self-reported mental health, self-medication, and aggression towards the hospital staff. There are also concerns over the condition of their home and its cleanliness. Grandma wants to be the baby's guardian, but the GAL has concerns over her inconsistent answers around her daughter's mental health and stability and asks the judge to keep the baby with foster parents until they can investigate more. What will the judge think of the GAL's request? Let's find out. If you want to watch the whole story from the very beginning, make sure you watch the first 3 videos in this case, which I'll link for you in the description box below.
4121 NA. All right, we are on record for the third review and permanency planning hearing consolidated with a request for termination of parental rights as it relates to both parents. May I have the names of our participants, please?
Good morning, Your Honor. Nicole Underwood, lawyer, guardian ad litem for the minor child.
Ms. Naja Thomas, counsel for the department.
Eva Copers, child welfare specialist with Lenawee County DHS.
Good morning, Your Honor. Charles Noe, appearing on behalf of mother. Can you please state your name, Jackie?
Jacqueline Lomas, mother.
Michael McFarland, representing father.
Dakota Harmon Duckworth, father.
Thank you.
Good. All right, anything preliminarily or opening statements this morning from our attorneys?
I will be calling my client, Your Honor, today.
I have no opening statements, Your Honor. This is a continuation. I think we already done that.
We adjourned to consolidate everything. Would you mind refreshing the record with any report you might have?
Yes, Your Honor. I was able to observe the minor child via a Zoom call. Recently just turned a year old. He's couch surfing and surfing furniture, getting very close to walking. He waved hi to me when I talked to him online. He's just really growing and thriving, meeting all his milestones. His placement continues to and has always provided him with the care, comfort, and his necessities. And where he continues to be placed is the least restrictive, safest, and most appropriate at this time. Considering his age, he is too young to establish a preference.
Okay. All right. Testimony this morning, Ms. Thomas.
Thank you, Your Honor. From my recollection, in my notes, it states that we stipulated to the admission of the report that was submitted for the July 7th hearing. And I just want to confirm that is still everyone's understanding.
I have a report dated and received August. You mean for the last hearing?
Correct, Your Honor, because I know we were going to keep it open for questioning. And so I just want to make sure that everyone was still in agreement that, you know, it's in the record and we don't need to address it.
Yes, this is that's what I have in my notes too, is that we completed the review and permanency planning hearing, but started the termination trial back on July 7th, received all of the exhibits. And then today would be a fresh hearing with the understanding that if the attorneys had any cross-examination on the old exhibits from July, that would be left open.
Yes,
Anything further, Mr. McFarland?
No, those are my notes. Almost the same.
Mr. Noe?
I concur.
All right. Well, then let's head into testimony, Ms. Thomas.
Thank you, Your Honor. If Ms. Copus can be sworn in.
Where would you stand?
You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Good morning, Ms. Copus.
Morning.
You have provided a court report for today's hearing. Your cover sheet includes the case service plans for both parents, parenting aid reports for Ms. Lomas, and then documents from the Care Pregnancy Center related to both parents. Are there any other documents that you have circulated since you've submitted this packet?
No.
Okay. And to the best of your knowledge, are there any updates or modifications that need to be made to your packet?
No.
Since the last court hearing and your last report back in July, how would you describe the parents' level of compliance with and benefit from the case service plans?
Their compliance and progress in case service plans remains the same as it did prior hearings and in the July hearing as well. Mother continues to be compliant with services. Although we have not seen full benefit of those services, she does continue to complete them in participation in those services. With father, we have not seen emotional stability during this reporting period, similarly to the last reporting period as well. I have seen more movement from father in regards to obtaining services and working a little bit more closely with community mental health than he did prior. But that is also still in the beginning stages.
Thank you. One of the main concerns in the petition for the request to terminate the parental rights is Ms. Lomas, as relates to Ms. Lomas, is her lack of benefit from services. However, there's a disagreement as to whether she's been offered appropriate services in compliance with ADA. During the last 6 weeks or so, have you had an opportunity to thoroughly review the services she's been provided and whether the department is in fact in compliance with Title II of the ADA standards?
I have, and I believe we are.
And can you please tell, for the record, state why you believe that the department is or has adhered to those standards?
While working with mother, specifically working with mother's parenting education providers, each provider respectively created their own plan and a plan with the department to adhere to mom's special needs. Mother Care Pregnancy Center, based on mother's needs and her intake, provided an entire care plan, which was specifically addressed to mother's apparent disability at that time, which allowed for the pausing of videos, extra time in terms of processing, providing feedback, and then an opportunity for dialogue back and forth, as well as Care Pregnancy Center at our request did repeat several important sessions from year one when it became apparent that although on paper mom had understood and had practiced those courses, we were not seeing them implemented. With regards to orchards, very similarly, it was apparent from the beginning that mother would need extra assistance. And so there was time allotted before and after for instruction to be given clearly and precisely what would happen. The lesson plans that were provided to mother were either verbally read to her or given to her. They were in grade school level material, which had pictures included relative to that topic of that day. They would then do retention quizzes to ensure that mom had understood the material and that she was able to potentially apply that moving forward. Orchards also did a lot of coaching and modeling of behaviors to give mom examples of how to move forward in parenting. With regards to L&L parenting, there's been a great deal of modeling allotted for feedback, pauses, going back, reviewing information, repeatedly reviewing information over several courses. There's been open dialogue for mother to indicate where she does not understand and where she does, to provide her own feedback. And so with those accommodations, those are how we continue to aid mother. It became very apparent from the beginning that there actually was no other way to work with mom. Had we not implemented those accommodations, I don't know if we would have even have gotten this far.
On Friday, Ms. Lomas' attorney provided myself with a list of accommodations that could be provided to Ms. Lomas. Did you have an opportunity to review that list that was sent over to you?
I did.
Okay. And I'm going to go down them one by one for Ms. Lomas' benefit. The first one, are instructions repeated or written? In the
Yes.
services that are provided, Are instructions repeated or written?
Yes,
And those are documented in the reports, correct?
yes,
And the materials that the Orchards program offers, are those tangible papers?
yes. So when I sat in on those visits, she was provided with the small packet, 2-3 pages. Again, very large print in a grade school level, pictures associated with whatever the topic was. And then depending on that week, whether Ms. Lomas could read it or it would be read to her.
And was she able to take those materials home?
Yes,
Did she have access to organizational tools like a feeding chart or a calculator or a calendar?
she often used her own calculator on her phone, which was encouraged when she was struggling to calculate time and how much the child had eaten and what time frames he would need to eat in. She again used her own calendar on her phone for appointments. But overall, for the case service plan, she has been able to make appointments and arrange transportation fairly well. I cannot say that direct charts were followed. I know that videos and other material were walked through with her in regards of how things should be done.
During parenting time, were or during instruction services, was there an effort to reduce any distractions?
Yes, so Orchard would meet with mother privately in the visitation room, which typically the door had to be closed, especially during that time because our office was under construction. So it needed to be closed in order to even just hear yourself think. So she was provided that one-on-one. And then as well as when she works with Linda from L&L, she's also given one-on-one time before and after, in which there's no one else interrupting that time.
During meetings or during parenting time or other services that Ms. Lomas has engaged in, did she have an opportunity to take notes?
She was encouraged to take notes during family team meetings. I know that she had taken notes when it came to the quizzes for retention. I do not believe that we directly told her that she could take notes, but we never hindered her from taking notes either.
During services, was she provided with feedback and like how she's doing or live feedback on any assessments that she might have participated in or the materials that were being reviewed with her?
Yes.
And what about during parenting time? Was she also offered feedback on how she was doing during parenting time?
Yes, so as part of the L&L, she also has Ms. Edwards as a parent aide. And during those sessions afterwards, or during times when she would transport mother home, they would have feedbacks about what happened during the visit, what potentially could have been done differently, what went well, what would continue to need to work on.
And was she provided an option to step out during meetings when she felt overwhelmed?
When it became apparent during meetings, the opportunity was given to her to step out. She overall did appear to maintain during meetings and not express being distressed, but when it did appear that she was, we did offer for her to be allowed to have a moment.
Did she ever articulate that she was feeling overwhelmed?
No. During meetings, Ms. Lomas never made admissions to any impairment and never said that she was overwhelmed. It just became apparent when she was struggling to speak and would have multiple pauses in her speech.
During your interactions with her or the departments and service providers, do you believe that there were clear verbal and written or written instructions provided to her?
Yes.
And when there were concerns about whether language was clear, what did the department and or service providers do to ensure understanding or attempt to ensure understanding?
So I know with Orchards, like, again, they did the retention quizzes where they would pause and go through the program or the lesson of that week. And then they would do the quiz to understand if varies between 3 and 4 questions, multiple choice, so that mother could decide whether she understood what was happening in that lesson. With Miss Edwards, there's always an opportunity for feedback. And I observed Miss Edwards speaking with her into clear language. During these moments, I have seen mother articulate that she does understand. There have been moments where she actually becomes defensive and does not believe that she needs us to instruct her, that she knows exactly what she's doing.
Have you observed her with the same demeanor and language during prior court hearings as well?
I have.
Has Ms. Lomas been provided extra time to review materials and or learn materials that have been provided to her?
In regards to her parenting education, she has been provided with extra time to review materials. With the department, I typically email her materials such as like the child's medical passport or case service plan, and I allow her to read that at her leisure and then ask her to come to me when she's ready for feedback or if she does not understand.
Have you discussed with anyone whether you believe Ms. Lomas is in need of a guardian?
It has been a conversation that we have had within the department. We have discussed whether that was warranted at some points. Specifically on the onset of the case and when I received the case in December, whether this warranted enough action to make an adult protective services complaint. Mother does appear to be maintaining at this point, and so we did not escalate to that point.
During your interactions with Ms. Lomas, have you confirmed that she understands what is happening in your conversation or what to expect in court?
I have explained to the best of my ability. She has informed me that she understands. She will articulate that, yes, she understands. However, sometimes she continues to stare at me as if she doesn't. And so I will ask again if she needs any clarification.
How have the parenting classes and parent aid services been tailored to or adapted to Ms. Lomas's cognitive abilities?
So again, with regards to Orchards, mom's material was changed to the easy reader level, which is my understanding is kindergarten through 5th grade, which also then provided pictures. That is not typical of that program. Those materials were read to mother and the retention quizzes were provided. That is not also a standard within that program. With regards to CPC of Lenawee, their program is designed by videos, also following up with retention quizzes. However, the pause for clarification and pauses to ensure that mom understands, that part is part of their care plan accommodation to ensure that mom is understanding the material being taught to her, as well as repeating several courses from the first year of their program to ensure that mom was retaining that information. She does on paper tend to pass her quizzes and it does appear that she understands. We just don't always see it in practice. In regards to L&L, again, once more allowing for the instruction before and debriefing afterwards, as well as pauses and modeling to ensure that mother understands what is happening and what is going on in those sessions.
Did L&L Parent Services or Parent Aid work in collaboration with Orchards to support the Orchards goals and materials?
They did. So anytime mother was provided with her lesson plan and quiz, I would then provide that to L&L parenting so that they could support that lesson that had been taught. Ms. Edwards did find that most often mom did not quite understand or remember the lesson from going from her visit with L&L to her visit with Orchards and vice versa.
How frequently would you check in with, or did other service providers check in with Miss Lomas during any interactions, if you're aware?
Um,
I'm sorry, I need to rephrase this question. The accommodation request is frequent check-ins by a support worker or case manager to ensure understanding. How did the department or service providers accommodate that request?
Mostly by observation as to whether mother appeared overwhelmed or appeared to understand the material. Again, she often articulates that she does understand. And so they were able to move forward, but then again, we don't see it in practice. And so there's quite a bit and often pausing of making sure that mom understands, or if there's a better way of phrasing for her to understand information.
As relates to the services that are outlined in the case service plan, do you believe that it's presented in a small, manageable, or in a way that it breaks it down into small, manageable steps? And the issue has not been mom's compliance with the case service plan, correct? She understands what's expected of her, correct?
Yes.
The service providers, such as those providing parenting classes, therapy, supervised visitations, are they provided by professionals that are trained or certified in working with individuals with cognitive impairments?
Specific training, I can't say. I know that they're all professionals. They all are trained to do their program. Ms. Edwards has a vast knowledge of working with both children and adults with limited impairments. But to say a specific training or certification, no, I don't know that.
You're not sure about that?
Correct.
Okay. Has Ms. Lomas been provided with lists of expectations to prepare for upcoming meetings or parenting times or services tailored, whatever that means?
I mean, during the parenting education portions, she's met beforehand, and the lessons are presented and the expectations of what will be worked on and what is adhered to in that lesson and in that parenting time, because both with L&L and Orchards, the time before that is where they were discussed and expectations and instruction, then the visitation would be supervised by that coordinator, and then the debriefing would happen after the visitation was over. And so they got a full scale of giving the instruction, providing it, getting the feedback, watching her attempt to implement those services, and then a follow-up afterwards. And in my experience in sitting with Orchards, and then occasionally I would walk in L&L's time, I've seen them use appropriate language with mother.
Did Ms. Lomas ever request or has anyone ever requested prior to Friday, disability-informed advocate or support person to attend case meetings, classes, or hearings with Ms. Lomas?
No, Ms. Lomas, the entire duration of this case has been adamant that she does not have an impairment. We did have a FTM in the early part of this year, in which mother argued that she did not believe that the IQ provided in the 2019 psychological completed for Social Security benefits and the 2024 psychological completed for the department, that neither IQ was accurate and that she did not believe that that was an accurate reflection of her functioning. And at that time, we had advised her that she should seek a way of obtaining that herself then. But she was adamant at that point that she did not have any impairments and that she fully understood what was happening.
And then there's a request for an agenda. prior to meeting what you guys are talking about. Has that been provided, or how do you interact with Ms. Lomas in a way that there's some knowledge about what's going to be talked about prior to a meeting?
Most of my communication I do attempt to do verbally. However, mother does struggle to have oral conversations, and so it does appear that text messaging is the best way to communicate. When communicating meetings, I do tell her, like, I ask for her input about when times and places should be for these meetings. I remind her that she can have a support person with her. She often chooses her partner or her mother, who have been frequent to our meetings. And then we do discuss what is on the agenda. And so if we're only discussing case service plans or we're only discussing parenting time, I will tell her that. Generally with meetings with mother, we don't try to do more than 2 topics at a time because that becomes overwhelming. So usually it's focuses case service plan compliance and then maybe parenting time as well. And we try to keep it to that.
All of this has really been focused on Ms. Lomas. Have the same accommodations spilled over to Mr. Harmon Duckworth?
No, mostly due to lack of compliance. Mr. Harmon Duckworth, other than email, does not have a direct means of communication, and there's been an unclear means of how to communicate with him. In some conversations, he has informed me that I need to speak directly to him, despite him not having a phone. However, in other areas, he has said that it's okay to communicate with mother regarding that, and that's fine. He does not always respond to emails as well. He does meet with me monthly as agreed upon. And during those conversations, we do attempt to talk about the case service plan and where he's at. It is rare for him not to become escalated and defensive during those conversations.
And during this, the duration of this case, has there been any progress in his, I guess, treatment of his mental health?
No, there has not. He has not had consistent mental health services since the onset of this case. There was recommendations following his hospitalization in September of 2024 that did not appear to be followed up on. Mr. Dad has a habit of disagreeing with his service providers, and once he's decided that they are no longer in support of him or they do not agree with him or he does not like what they are saying, he tends to leave that service provider and move on. With the exception of most recently, he did have an insurance issue with ACPC. However, that insurance issue was an issue that Mr. Duckworth created himself and was not listening to what was being requested of him multiple times. And instead of
I'm sorry, but I apologize. That was a oh no, because to repeat, I mentioned directly to her
Mr. Harmon Duckworth,
repeatedly.
I'm going to remind you that you will have an opportunity to.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said oh no. That's why I'm trying my hardest.
I understand. We're going to need your best efforts to not interrupt until she's finished, and then you'll have your opportunity.
Sure.
Do you need the question repeated, or do you need to?
No, it's fine. There was an issue with insurance. It does appear that early in the case, he was asked to provide a bank statement, and that was in September in order for him to have full Medicaid. When that did not happen, he was transferred into a different plan, which basically only covers emergency care. But instead of he did not provide me with a bank statement until after the new year. And then instead of providing the bank statement as needed, as requested, furthermore, he just continued to reapply for the services. And then finally, I do believe it was in May that he provided the bank statement to the state of Michigan for those services, and his insurance was implemented once more.
Has he, can you please just refresh the record as to why Mr. Harmon Duckworth is not receiving or did not, I'm sorry. Can you please refresh record as to why in-person parenting time with Mr. Harmon Duckworth was suspended?
My understanding is that at the onset of the case, he had posed a safety risk. There was an incident with a knife, and the department and the worker at that time felt it was not safe for him to have in-person parenting time. And then as well as we received his.
I guess I'm objecting, and the reason is this is a review, and we're covering what's happened during the last period, and we're going way beyond.
And I've already explained
Hang on,
that.
I have my chance to talk for you, sorry. And we're going way beyond that time frame, Your Honor.
Would you like to respond, Ms. Thomas?
Yes, I can appreciate that for a standard review. However, I believe at the onset of the record today, we've all been in agreement that this is a continuation of a termination of parental rights hearing. And some of this information is relevant as it relates to best interest factors and the parents' compliance with parenting time, or how often they've had parenting time.
Any other comments, Mr. Noe? Or,
I'll leave it to the court's discretion.
I would concur with Ms. Thomas, due to the fact that it is a termination trial.
yes, some summary and limited review of the records as a whole for purposes of determining whether or not there's been progress on our case services plan in different areas is appropriate. So I will allow it. But I appreciate Mr. McFarland reminding us of that fact, because I too wish to avoid a complete review of the record. So you may continue this.
Thank you. So there were safety concerns, is that correct? And then the psychological evaluation recommendations?
Yes, it recommended at least 6 months of emotional stability for us to move forward with father. And we have not seen that over the course of the case. And we've not seen that during this reporting period or any other. In actuality, Mr. Harmon Duckworth has become very defensive of that situation and has repeatedly claimed that the department is being hypervigilant and that we are taking things out of context, and that he does not believe then or now that he was a safety risk.
And does the department continue to offer virtual visits or virtual parenting time to him?
We have repeatedly offered him virtual parenting time. His answer through the course of this case has remained the same, and that he finds them to be triggering. He does not see the potential for the bonding between him and his child through virtual parenting time. He continues to request in person and believes that that is the only way for him to establish a bond with his child.
Is there anything, but just briefly, I want to kind of get into those best interest factors. Have you been able to observe the bond between the child and Miss Lomas?
Yes.
And how would you describe that bond?
The bond is limited. It does not fully appear to be there. Miss Lomas does make great efforts to engage with her son, to get reactions from him. She does do a lot of serve and receive attachment. However, she does not always get it in return. So she does put it out there. He doesn't always return it. There are moments where she's attempting to do that, but instead of watching for his response, she will look to myself or Miss Edwards to see if we are watching her. And so she doesn't always pick up on the feedback that he's giving. But the effort for the bond is definitely there. Mother does try her best to secure a more close bond. It's just very limited at this point.
There may be a question as to whether that is simply the child's temperament and behavior towards all caregivers. Have you observed anything different from him to anyone else?
I have. I've experienced it myself while visiting him in the home. I've also seen him interacting with his caregiver, the foster mother, as well as the foster mother's mother. I apologize. And I see a completely different child. He's very enlightening. He's babbling. He's talking back. He's very noiseful and very much is heard in that home. I've seen him be affectionate, where he leans in for comfort and guidance, where he will snuggle towards someone. And those are just some behaviors I had not observed with Mother.
Is the current foster home willing to adopt this child?
Yes.
And do you foresee any barriers to adoption with this family?
No,
Have you been able to observe Miss Lomas and Mr. Harmon Duckworth's home?
I have.
And does it have adequate space for the child to be there as well?
It has adequate space when Miss Lomas's mother is not in the home. Yes, there is adequate space for the child, yes.
And this, I don't know necessarily how to word this, but do the parents have they prepared for the child to be returned to their care? Like, do they have any materials there in anticipation that he might be returned?
They've had some over the course of the case. I would never say that they were fully ready for him to return. But they have had various beds based on our recommendation over the time that he's been there, or the time that they were anticipating him to come home. They have had clothing, diapers, certain formulas, various car seats, again, depending on his size. However, none of these items have been particularly all given or obtained by the parents, but rather were provided from CPC of Lenawee as part of their parent education program. When I spoke with father regarding these, he often talks about having appropriate toys in the home, and that seems to be his focus, as opposed to the other more essential things, such as baby gates, baby security things, so they don't get into other things.
Is there anything else from your court report or anything from your knowledge of the case that you'd like to highlight for the record today?
I was informed by mother approximately 4 days after an incident recently within the last 30 days that father did have an incident with an altercation with the neighbor over some recycling bins. I was informed that law enforcement was contacted to the home. However, when I contacted Adrian PD and requested records, they did not have a report. But father made it a point to inform me like Friday of that incident again, letting me know what had happened and describing the altercation as well.
Okay. All right. With that, Your Honor, I have no further questions of Ms. Kopis and would ask the court to accept and receive the documents that were provided for today's hearing.
Objections?
No objection.
None.
None.
Thank you, they are received. Cross-examination, Mr. McFarland?
I do. I understand the disabilities of my client to be under the American Disabilities Act.
My understanding is that it is regards to his mental health, which is what he was approved for Social Security for.
And is he receiving benefits for that right now?
Yes.
So what accommodations are you making specifically for my client's mental health? And well, let me backtrack. What specific mental health issues is it your understanding that creates this disability diagnosis?
I am actually not aware of Mr. Harmon Duckworth's diagnoses. I am aware of what their potential was that each provider wanted to treat him for. I know that when he had gone into the hospital, they had said that at that time he was having bizarre behavior and that they were unable to fully finish their assessment because he was not adequately answering the questions. They would ask a question in regards to the here and now, and he did not appear, the answer would not be even in the realm of what that question was related to. It would be completely off base. And so at that time, they had a hard time assessing him. At this point, he has not stayed with a provider long enough for us to assess further into that.
My understanding, you said the parents are not fully prepared for return to the child, but you're seeking termination of parental rights at this trial today, correct?
Yes.
And why should there be a need to fully equip a house if their rights may be terminated?
Multiple reasons. One, they were preparing for their child to come home. And with regards to Mr. Harmon Duckworth, it was not necessarily what was in the home that was concerning, it was the conversation of what needed to be in the home and the focus being on toys, whether they were age appropriate or not, as opposed to how to ensure that they had enough diapers, how to ensure that they had enough bottles, what food stage he was at, those things of that nature. He was, when we talked about the bedding needing to be different, that he was out of a bassinet and that he needed a full crib, he did understand that and he did make arrangements for that to occur.
Let me put this in perspective. During the last review period, has mother had a visit with the child in the parent's home?
No.
Are there any, if this case continues and does not wrap up today, is there any future expectation in the near future that there would be a parental visit in the parent's home?
No.
So having gates, and things of that nature really isn't a priority if there's no anticipation of a infant visit with the parent at the home, correct?
No, I would disagree with that. I think that the parents are actively planning for their child to return home, even through all of these conversations. And so I would expect that they would plan and prepare for that.
My understanding is that your expectation is that my client, the father, would form a bond with the infant without personal contact with the minor child. Is that did I hear you correct?
I suspected that he can do it. What I would like for him is I needed him to be emotionally stable so that he was safe enough to visit in person. And we never achieved that during the course of this case thus far.
With absolutely no parenting time suspended, do you agree that it's not possible to form a bond with the child if your parenting time has been suspended?
Was parenting time was not suspended. His in-person was suspended. He was offered virtual, and I do think that he could have bonded and made rapport with his child through those virtual visits.
How old is this child?
He was 1.
The child was removed from the hospital from mother initially, correct?
Yes.
Still believe that bond can be formed with a 1-year-old by Zoom?
I think the beginning stages of a bond can be built. I think that this child could have learned his dad's voice. He could have understood what he's saying. At this point in the child's development, he is learning from videos and understands what television is. He would recognize a moving figure on a screen.
Let me go back to my initial question and what accommodations have you made for what you believe are my client's disabilities?
We have engaged father in trying to implement mental health services. He has been very resistant to all of those services as he does not believe that he has an impairment. During family team meetings, he's been allowed to move around, pace. He's been allowed to speak as he needs to. He does often need to be reminded to not speak over other people, but he's been allowed to freely express himself. He's been allowed to dictate his treatment as he believes it needs to be. And we continue to work with him. I have also worked extensively with our payment assistants to understand why his insurance and what was going wrong with that. We've also provided him with bus tokens to these service providers.
Over here, just give you a report. Yes, my client was taking parenting classes here in Aide, correct?
Yes.
Apparently there may have been an excused or unexcused absence or lateness in which he was dismissed from the class. Am I understanding that correctly?
No, that's not what happened.
Okay. Now, my understanding is not attending a parenting class in person right now, correct?
He is not. So my understanding is
That's fine. Are you aware that he has on his own accord been taking parenting classes via the internet? Are you aware of that?
No.
You are aware that there are parenting classes through the internet, correct?
I am aware of that.
And some people may work best in a low pressure situation, such as an internet versus a personal meeting. You would agree with that also, correct? Some people.
Some people.
What are those?
Sure.
Thank you. Good morning, Ms. Copus.
Good morning.
Ms. Copus, when were you assigned to be the worker on this case?
Approximately December 5th of 2024.
Okay. It's about 8 months or so.
I've been actively working with the family, yes.
How many reporting periods has there been since then?
Our reporting periods or the court's reporting period?
How about the court's reporting periods? Good question.
I believe we're on our third. I apologize for if that's not accurate. I believe we're on our third review.
Were you the author of all those court reports?
Yes.
It's the department's understanding that my client has some sort of documented cognitive limitations. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Would you also, you would also agree that the department knew about that from very early on? Is that also correct?
Yes.
And you also understand, you had questions from Ms. Thomas earlier. You understand that DHHS is required to comply with the ADA when providing services. Is that also correct?
Yes.
Is it also your understanding that requires that my client be given reasonable accommodations and modifications for services to cover those disabilities? Is that also correct?
That's my understanding, yes.
Did you arrange for an ADA specific assessment to determine what exactly supports or accommodations that my client needed?
No.
Did you have a like a specialist, such as like a neuropsychologist or something like, or a cognitive expert, compare a written set of recommended services and modifications of those services based on the apparent disability?
No, we had conversations with her mental health provider, or we attempted to have conversations and meetings to best approach mother, and those were not fruitful.
You put together a case service plan, correct?
Yes.
And how many of those case service plans do you think you've prepared over your career?
Hundreds. I've been doing this 13 years.
But the case service plan that we have on this case is really the same form you'd give any parent, regardless of their cognitive function, correct?
It's similar, yes. I know in this most recent one, we did break down things a little bit further for expectations for mother, yes.
The service plan that was in the file now lists complete parenting classes as a requirement. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is there a note in that plan that classes should be one-to-one instead of group sessions or anything like that?
That was not noted in the case service plan. That was worked out with each individual provider.
Is there any requirement that the provider use plain language materials?
That was the expectation of each provider, because again, in working with Ms. Lomas, there's no other way to communicate to ensure that she would have understood.
The case service plan doesn't require any sort of additional repetition or visual representations to account for those learning styles, though, correct?
Correct.
And does the plan provide for any extra sessions beyond the regular courses?
Not in the case service plan. Those are worked out with the respective providers.
Is it the department's understanding that my client struggles with reading comprehension?
That's difficult to assess because I believe that she struggles with it based on her testing and assessment and based on my conversations with her. However, when we speak with her, she tells you that she does not have an impairment and that she can read absolutely fine, to the point that she has showed me different things that she has written, such as poetry, her high school diploma, and she has talked about going to college. Those conversations, she does tend to get defensive and does not believe that she has an impairment.
But the plan itself expects my client to, and I quote, follow written instructions. But again, based on your own testimony, you would agree that she has some issues with reading comprehension, correct?
Yes.
Were any attempts made by the department or any providers to substitute pictorial instructions or hands-on modeling or something like that, as opposed to written only instructions?
Well, during the parenting education over the 3 respective providers, we did use a variety of those. So we did use modeling, they did use videos for visual aids, and then they did use written instruction, depending on where they were in each stage and mom's understanding at that time.
You did ensure that all service providers were trained to work with individuals with intellectual disabilities, correct?
We did not specifically ask for that training, no.
The plan schedules parenting time in the same setting and format as other parents without disabilities, correct?
No,
Would you agree that no additional support person was provided during visits to help implement skills in real life?
no, I mean, Orchards provided a one-on-one aid in parenting, L&L parenting, as well as the parenting aid was the one-on-one provider, instructor, and aide that would assist mother in those programs and understanding of material.
Do you know if those sessions were ever videotaped or recorded?
No,
I should ask that a different way. Were they recorded?
not to my knowledge. We would not record a parenting time,
Is that something the department has previously done?
not to my knowledge, no.
Is that something Orchard or L&L has ever done?
No,
Don't you believe that with somebody who, according to the department, my client has an intellectual disability, would benefit from being able to have that recorded, be able to review that later on and get feedback?
I don't know if that would benefit her.
So, despite the department's position that my client has an intellectual disability, DHS did obtain a specialized ADA assessment. Is that correct?
Correct.
Did modify the case service plan content to accommodate for ADA requirements, correct?
Case service plan itself, no.
It also did verify independently that service providers were disability trained. Is that also correct?
Correct.
Earlier, you testified that DHS made accommodations for my client's intellectual disability through the service providers. Is that correct?
Yes,
And would you also agree that those accommodations were part of the case service plan that was done in anticipation for the family? Is that correct?
I'm sorry, can you rephrase that?
Sure. Those accommodations were part of the case service plan that was done for the family, correct?
Yes, they were part of the case services for mother.
Do you see anywhere in that case service plan that had any language about providing services in plain language, or if there's visual aids at all?
No, well, Orchard, I'm sorry, I take that back, I apologize. With Orchards, there was written instruction, and with those, again, there was pictures or charts related to whatever that lesson plan was that was provided to mother. But once more, through all of these accommodations, mother did not ask for accommodations and actually became defensive, saying that she did not need us to do those things.
Okay. In terms of the accommodations, you testified today that your understanding the accommodations were provided in compliance with the ADA. Is that correct?
Yes.
When was the first time you documented these accommodations in your reports to the court?
They've always been documented because the entirety of Ms. Lomas's program has been designed around her mental impairment, her whole cognitive impairment. We would not have been able to teach her in any other way. All of the things that we have implemented now have been implemented from the beginning. Things may have changed in terms of structure as we learned Ms. Lomas, but providing the extra time, the feedback, the pause for clarification, those were all provided through the entire course of this case.
Can you can you document at least in any court report where specifically you addressed that these were the ADA compliant accommodations?
They're not in the court report, no.
Would you agree, is that true? That reports of span, I think 3, you said over several months, there's been no mention of specifically accommodating my client's apparent disability in compliance with the ADA.
There was no wording that described accommodations, but rather mom's participation in those services. And it's my understanding that the goal was to provide accommodations so that she could learn the material and that she could bring herself up to standard instead of lowering the standard for her to fit.
Do you have any sort of written policy that the department has that defines what constitutes an accommodation for a parent with an intellectual disability?
Accommodation is anything outside of the standard program that individualize each plan to meet the parent's needs.
Did you ever explain to Ms. Lomas that what you're providing was meant to be an ADA accommodation?
We did not use that phrasing. We told her that these were being made to clarify that she understood what was happening and that she could best gain knowledge of the material that we were providing her with.
Were those accommodations ever listed in the treatment plan or case service plan?
They were not.
You mentioned that, for example, I believe one of the providers does one-to-one time with the parent. Which provider is that?
All of them. My understanding is that CPC of Lenawee is typically done either in office or in home on a one-on-one session. It is my understanding that Orchards provided one-on-one sessions with mother because I had observed those, and then L&L also provided one-on-one sessions.
And are those one-on-one times given to folks who don't have an intellectual disability?
If needed.
So you would say these services that were offered really aren't necessarily different that's offered to parents that don't have any sort of disability according to the department?
I would disagree with that statement.
Would you agree that repeating instructions one time is not the same as providing tailored ADA accommodations?
Instructions were repeatedly given to mother over a variety of time in various situations for her to understand the material.
Isn't it true that just recently in the last few weeks that the department has been working with my client's counselor to address the accommodations?
We've recently received response back. We've been attempting to work with her for several months.
Would you agree that it is a department's responsibility to provide services that are compliant with ADA?
Do.
Would you agree that if services were provided that were not modified just to fit her specific needs, the department did not provide reasonable efforts?
I do not agree with that, no.
You said one of the other concerns you had was the bond that my client has with the minor child. Is that correct?
Yes.
Would you agree it's hard for somebody to build a bond like that when you only see your child a couple hours at a time, a couple times a week, maybe?
I would disagree with that. I mean, I think that depends on each family. I've seen it go both ways.
During my client's parenting time, was she ever distracted during that period of time, either by the department or one of the service providers trying to talk to her while she's trying to have time with her son?
Yes and no, because for the most part, they do leave her to engage with her son. However, there's often times where coaching and modeling and intervention is required in order to safely ensure that she is parenting her son. So was the intention to distract? No. Did a pause need to happen so that we could ensure the child's safety? Yes.
Is it your understanding that my client is in compliance with her mental health treatment?
Yes.
Is it your understanding that she's also being, one of the things she's being treated for is anxiety?
My understanding is that she's being treated for anxiety and ADHD.
In your interactions with her, you've noticed the issues with the anxiety, correct?
Yeah.
Would you agree that they have baby gates at the house?
I do not recall. My last home assessment would have been at the end of April, so I apologize. They have mentioned it to me more than once.
Who's mentioned it to you?
Mother and father have mentioned the baby gates to me. I just have not visually seen them in the home.
What other preparations have they made for their home if they were to have the child returned to them?
They've had clothing, they've had bottles. They did not have formula food. Again, I understand that in terms of anticipation of when he'd come home. The bedding has not always been quite right. Again, they did rectify that. The remaining part of the home is lacking furnishing. Other than that, they mostly have toys and a car seat for him.
Do you know that does the department have a called an ADA coordinator or something like that that would help coordinate case service plans to comply with the ADA?
I'm unaware, I apologize.
Did you receive any sort of specialized training on complying with ADA?
No. I did seek their technical assistance from their website. There's an entire several articles specifically at rights and responsibilities, a technical tool guide for child welfare agencies working with parents in foster care.
You read that?
Okay.
Okay. When was that?
For the last 2 reporting periods, I want to say.
Okay, all right. Don't you think it would have been helpful on this case to have somebody who is trained in ADA compliance to assist with the family with the case service plan and the service providers?
Yes and no. The goal was not to be in ADA compliance. The goal the entire time was to have an individualized tailored plan to best help mother retain the information so that she could safely parent her child. So no, being ADA compliant fully was not the goal. The goal was to ensure that mother understood and that all the individualized plans were aimed towards that.
Has my client attended all of her parenting times that she's allotted?
With the exception of one, there was a miscommunication, which would have likely have happened in any case. So that is, I won't say fully at fault of mom.
Okay, fair enough.
But yes. She missed one for a medical issue, but yes, overall, yes.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Are you aware also that my client recently completed a
Yes.
CPR course, the Red Cross?
Yes, and to my knowledge, that would be her 3rd. So she completed infant CPR with CPC of Lenawee twice, and then I did receive documentation from the Red Cross. I'm sorry, from my supervisor, which mother had provided.
She's also attended and completed all the parenting classes through CPC that she's been asked to do so by the department. Is that also correct?
She has, yes.
No further questions this time, thank you.
Ms. Underwood, any questions?
Yes. Hi, Ms. Copas. Need a drink of water or anything?
If I could please.
Yes. Been talking for a while.
Thank you.
Usually catch that soon, I'm sorry.
She has a water bottle right here. Is that your water bottle right there?
It is.
Would you rather have your water?
That's fine. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ready?
Yes, thank you.
All right. I'm going to try to be brief because I know a lot of these issues have already been discussed thoroughly. However, there's a few additional questions and clarifications. Are there concerns with domestic violence in the home?
There are.
Okay, was that one of the reasons why the child was brought into care?
Yes, there was a lot of verbal altercations in the home, specifically between Ms. Lomas's mother and father. That continues to happen. We've discussed with both parents the potential for couples counseling. They declined that service. We've discussed healthy boundaries. Ms. Patty Lomas being in the home is a very significant trigger for father, and yet the family does not address that as an issue. When directly spoken to mother about her needing to aid in this discord in her home, she tends to freeze up and will not pick either side.
Aside from the domestic violence, are there concerns that there's a power or control dynamic between Mr. Harmon Duckworth and Ms. Lomas?
Yes,
Does Mr. Harmon Duckworth tend to talk over Jackie?
tends to talk over Jackie. He tends to answer for her. There have been meetings where he's blatantly told her to stop talking so that he can answer a question where she had, or vice versa, where she has attempted to calm him down and he has lashed out at her saying that he doesn't need her assistance. And so there is a discord between them.
Thank you for that. There was a question that was asked by Mr. McFarland with regards to parenting classes and why Mr. Harmon Duckworth no longer attended those. Can you clarify what happened?
It's my understanding that father had been working with CPC of Runaway since January. There had been some ongoing issues. They had attempted to accommodate him. He had some issues with his eyes and the inability to see. They had questioned, he repeatedly told them that he did not need that program and that he did not understand why this was even warranted because he had all the parenting skills he needed. And then in particularly somewhere, I do believe around July 16th, there was an episode within their office that allowed small children and other women in the facility to be exposed to his erratic behavior. And at that point, they did a pause in his services and referred him to Tranquil Parenting.
Thank you. In creating, so case service plans in general are designed for each parent, correct?
Yes.
So it's not necessary that each individual accommodation be included in that service plan, is that correct? So those accommodations are more between the service providers and the department to coordinate?
Yes, based on how their program is already designed and based on the needs of the parent moving forward.
And you believe throughout this entire process, regardless of whether you utilized ADA lingo or jargon, everything that the department has done has been in compliance with the ADA.
I do.
And it wasn't up until very recently that there was even a question as to whether the department was complying with ADA. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
So to your knowledge, is it your understanding then that the ADA just requires the government to give people with disabilities an equal opportunity to benefit from their programs?
Yes.
Okay. It's not that the department hasn't done anything to deny either party from participating in their case service plan or allow them to participate in any of the programs or services. Is that correct?
Correct.
Is it a requirement that all service providers be required to or be specifically trained in ADA compliance?
No, I understand, no.
Just so we can be clear as well, there's questions with bonds. Miss Edwards sees this minor child about the same amount as currently as Miss Lomas, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Have you observed the bond between the child and Miss Edwards?
I have.
Okay. And would you say that the minor child knows and has bonded with her Miss Edwards over the course of the last several months?
Yes.
Okay. Does he recognize Miss Edwards? And you've also regularly seen the child. Do you believe that your bond has strengthened with this child throughout the course of the reporting periods?
He's very affectionate. He does seem to recognize me during home visits. And I, at this point, see him sporadically when I check in on their visits, and then I see him once monthly.
We all understand that this is a very difficult situation to be in, and I'm sure it's not easy for you to be up on the stand to talk about all of these things. You believe Jackie loves her son?
Absolutely.
And you believe she's doing everything that she can to attempt to have the ability to parent her son?
I do.
Okay. And unfortunately, would you say that that's not the case with Mr. Harmon Duckworth? Just to be clear on the record, you believe that the department has made several attempts to assist Mr. Harmon Duckworth in treating his mental health?
We've had various conversations and several FTMs to discuss it and how treatment should be best moved forward. We've been met with a lot of resistance.
No further questions, thank you.
Noticed in the court reports that Jackie had transportation from either Orchards or L&L Parenting Time for all of her parenting times. Is that accurate?
Not all of her parenting time. So the department provides 6 tokens per parent, and they generally get them about every 11 to 14 days when they're active in services. When Jackie could not secure transportation, if she needed a ride being picked up or she needed a ride providing afterwards, then it would be provided, especially on some of those that like 1 to 3 visit where the bus kind of gets a little weird when it's arriving and time of that nature.
Did she ever provide for her own transportation to and from parenting time?
It's my understanding, no.
What about doctor's visits? I noticed that she's been able to attend all the doctor's visits. Was that due to her own transportation and facilitation, or was that also assisted?
No, that one she did on her own. It's my understanding that those did not require the yellow tokens that we gave her, but she did make the arrangements for that transportation on her own.
All right, redirect or questions based on my questions, Ms. Thomas.
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. McFarland?
I do have more questions based on guardian ad litem's questions. It may last a little bit longer than 5 minutes if the court wishes me to do now or when we return. It's up to the court.
I'd like to try to finish with Ms. Copas
Sure.
Before we break for lunch.
Your Honor. I think your answer, and maybe I misunderstood you in regards to does mom appear to love her son, and it was yes, and I think was the same question regarding father. You would agree that father also loves his son, loves the child, right?
I've seen no evidence of that.
Has he's never told you that he loves the child?
No.
I think your answer was that you do not believe or you do not know that providers have to be trained in ADA compliance.
I was unaware.
You're currently unaware whether they have any ADA training. Is that what I understand?
Correct.
And did you provide them, the providers, what you believed what would be proper ADA compliance? Did you ever provide that to the providers?
In terms of like actual like providing with the ADA, because
Yes, complying with the ADA. Did you provide the providers any documentation, written documentation as what they need to do to comply with the ADA?
no, because the goal wasn't to comply with the ADA, the goal was to make an individualized plan to adhere to Jackie.
So you don't know whether the providers are complying with ADA or not, correct? Is that true?
No, because the goals were made to implement. They were in compliance with the department and the individualized plans that we created for Jackie, yes. But in terms of ADA compliance, no, we did not directly have an ADA plan.
Don't know whether these, you already answered that. The information about my client and any possible disruptions at the CPC, that's all secondhand information. You did not firsthand watch that, correct? Or observe that?
I did not. It was in my correspondence with CDC of Lenawee when they contacted me regarding the letter that they would be sending in regards to the pause and referral out for services when they had told me that it would be coming out.
So based upon your prior answers, it would be fair to assume that you did not provide CDC with any method of how they could comply with ADA and my client.
They created their own self-care plan based on Mr. Herman Duckler's responses, but no.
My question to you was, you did not provide CDC with any means of what they needed to do to comply, correct? Do you know whether CPC has an ADA compliance officer?
I do not know.
Do you know what the policy of the agency is as far as subcontractors being ADA compliant? Do you know? Have you ever consulted your supervisor regarding that question?
We have, and the department takes on the responsibility, and it's our job to communicate the individualized plan for the parent.
So you communicated with your supervisor whether subcontractors need to have ADA compliance. Is that what I heard?
We did.
And who was the supervisor?
Erica Martin.
And what was her response to that?
That we were already doing it because we were doing individualized plans and that was adhering to the parent's needs.
It sounds as though she did not believe the subcontractors need to be in compliance with ADA. Is that what I'm hearing?
They do need to be in compliance with ADA. We believe that they were in compliance and that they already were in compliance because they had created with the department individualized plans to give the parents an opportunity to participate and to do the program that needed for reunification to best benefit them.
What's the agency's policy for child-parent visits for maximum bonding with an infant child of this age?
It is in the least restrictive and most family-like setting. And in regards to policy, mother has 2 hours twice a week.
Well, they're currently having 4 hours per week.
Yes, she is.
More, and that's the minimum requirements, correct?
It is.
And you would also agree that maximum bonding, according to policy, is best done with infants at a young age for successful parent-child bonding, correct?
Correct.
You also agree that more than the minimum requirement may provide better child-parent bonding. Do you agree with that?
I would not.
It may not.
Not in this case. Her bond outweighed the safety risk, and mother tends to get overwhelmed in visits, physically becoming labored in her breathing and ability to get around the room.
Why not more visits with less time?
She struggled with what she had. We wanted her to master what she could in the time that she had. And with the time that she had, she struggled.
So she's not mastering 2 hours. Why not break it into, let's say, multiple hours, multiple days per week? Why not that?
It's not proposed to us.
You saw her struggling with 2 hours, right?
I saw her struggling with 2 hours. If you ask her, she'll tell you she did just fine and did not need any help or
I'm asking you
assistance.
what she saw. I'm asking you what you observed.
I observed her to be struggling. However, 1 hour separated over multiple days as opposed to 2 hours would not have given us an accurate reflection of her parenting skills in the moment. 60 minutes would not have been enough time to assess as he grew older whether she could adhere to all his needs.
What needs are we talking about?
Changing his diaper more than once, adhering to understanding his cues between being hungry, being tired. Right now she's doing well, but right now learning how to walk. things of that nature would not have been a sufficient time in 1 hour.
You're saying right now she's doing well with that, correct?
Now, she still struggles, but she does make minimal progress.
If she's making minimal progress, why not expand her time now?
Again, I do not believe that it outweighs the safety risks opposed to silencing, the child.
I don't see where the child has ever been harmed in any of the visits, correct?
No.
And you always have a supervisor there. I think that's Miss Linda Edwards or her agency, correct?
Yes.
She's not responded that the child has been in direct risk, as I see from your reports, correct?
Not direct risk, but there
Thank
has
you. So I think if I heard your response correctly, you're trying to bring mother up to a higher level of comprehension rather than maybe giving her instructions at her current level. Did I understand that correctly, part of your goal?
No, the goal was to provide services that would meet her at her impairment so that she could understand what we needed her to understand for reunification. My expectation of both parents is the exact same expectation that I would expect from any parent to ensure a child's safety and ability to nurture and help them grow. We simply wanted to provide the services to best knowledge her to gain those skills.
Can you tell me how long the maternal grandmother has been residing with mother?
No, I cannot. Because my understanding is that she resided with them off and on, and I do not know of her comings and goings when she's in the home. My only indication that she is not there is that Mr. Harmon Duckworth is generally calm.
You don't know if she's residing there, living there? Is that what I'm hearing?
My understanding is that she reports that she continues to reside in the state of Washington and that she flies back. But how often she's here and when she's not, I am not informed of that.
Is she able to attend parenting sessions with mother?
She's able to attend once a month for a relative visit. Mother has not wanted to share her parenting time or ask for anyone to be in those parenting times with her.
I guess I did cover it in a little bit over noon. Your Honor, I have nothing further.
Mr. Noe, any additional cross-examination?
I certainly do.
That would be a great time.
May I proceed?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. You would agree there's no documented domestic violence within last reporting period, correct?
Since July?
Yes.
Is that no? Agree or no, I disagree?
Oh, no, there have not been any.
There's not many. Okay,
Thank
fair
you.
enough. Thank you for clarifying. Thank you. Thank you. Your position is that the department is in compliance with ADA, correct?
Yes.
Yet you agreed during, I believe it was Cross, Mr. McFarland, that you haven't been trained in that at all, correct?
Correct.
My client did a psychological evaluation.
Yes, she did.
Did she also, for that psychological evaluation, an IQ test?
It was.
Was that ever provided to the service providers?
The IQ number, yes. The psychological, no.
Would you agree that the service providers need to understand a parent's cognitive limitations, especially in a case like this, in order to tailor services effectively in compliance with ADA?
They do.
Would you agree that without that evaluation, providers kind of left to guess about what the mother's needs are based on their analysis with her?
Don't think they needed to read that psychological. And that psychological was also a combined psychological with Mr. Harmon Duckworth's.
How can providers be expected to modify services for an intellectual disability if they're never given the results of psychological evaluation?
Because that was our plan and coordination.
Your
when we
Honor,
met with them.
sorry, Ms. Colpus, one moment. I'm going to object to this line of questioning. I believe that it is more appropriate as an argument, and it's an argumentative question. Ms. Kopis has testified now for over an hour and a half about ADA and trainings and service providers and accommodations. And if the attorneys continue to ask these questions, then I would highly recommend that they take the trainings. They're available online. There's a YouTube channel. There's free resources online. This is just going well beyond the scope of what we're here for today. Ms. Kopis has repeated all of these answers numerous times, and I've been patient and not objected. But at this point in time, I don't see that this line of questioning is fruitful. It is argumentative and most appropriate to be given at closing.
Any response?
I guess my response to that would be that I think, while Ms. Thomas may disagree with this, I think the accommodations that were given to my client, or both parents really for that matter, and also compliance with ADA for that matter, it's very important. And my question to the worker on this matter was that it would be that to demonstrate that if the psychological evaluations aren't given to the providers and I guess I think the IQ number was given, I think was her testimony, that's only given to the providers, how are they supposed to reasonably comply with ADA requirements and with following through with being able to, more importantly, let's say best case scenario, they are compliant, that services are being crafted in coordination with the psychological evaluation that was done. And that's what I'm trying to get to, but that's not, I think that's highly relevant to these proceedings.
I'm going to sustain the objection and ask you to move on. Ms. Kopis has volunteered some information about some of the trainings that she's done on ADA coordination and that are available to the department, but I have not seen any of our attorneys, including you, Mr. Noe, establish that there is any relevance to asking for additional, I think some of it was subcontractors, or whether or not providing this information would have even benefited. And I have heard Ms. Kopis testify many times at this point that the services that were offered were tailored to your client specifically, and of her resistance to any tailoring to them, despite very obvious indications that she needed those services tailored to her. So I frankly, what this testimony has done, if nothing else, is thoroughly established that there have been accommodations made for Ms. Jackie Lomas, and I am not interested in any more cumulative evidence or cross-examination on that point. If you want to argue it, as Ms. Thomas said in your closing, feel free, but I don't have any basis to understand that any additional accommodations would have been even useful as it relates to Mr. Harmon Duckworth. Both parents have been very resistant, and she's testified to that. So any additional speculation on whether or not more services could have been beneficial is certainly without basis in the facts that have been established over the course of the many 3 or 4 reviews minimum that we've been here, and the extensive documentation every single time we've had a review on this. So please move along with something else. Thank you.
Very well. Ms. Kopis, in the parenting time, you're saying that my client struggled with the 2 hours, is what your testimony would be?
She did.
Did you ever consider modifications of that parenting time that would help her not struggle during those parenting times?
We did not consider any kind of modification. This was the best model that we could use to, one, get the correct observations that we needed to ensure that she was obtaining and retaining the skill set that she needed, while ultimately giving safety to the child. She never made it past the 2 hours, and so there was always the question of whether more time would even be beneficial when she struggled with the time that she had.
Okay. All right. No further questions.
Any recross, Ms. Underwood?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. May you return to your seat. We have on the docket some time this afternoon set aside for the resumption of testimony commencing at 2:30 p.m. Look forward to additional testimony at that time.
Harmon Duckworth, file 24121 and 8.
Right, we are back on record, continuing the 3rd review of permanency planning hearing and trial on the petition for termination of parental rights as it relates to both parents. Appearances for this afternoon, please.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Nicole Underwood, lawyer guarding ad litem.
Ms. Sasha Thomas, counsel for the department.
Eva Focus, foster care specialist with Lenawee County DHS.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Charles Snowy, appearing on behalf of Mother.
Mother Jacqueline Thomas.
Michael McFarland, representing father.
Dakota Harmon Duckworth, representing father.
Mr. Noe, did you have any, well, let me go back to Ms. Thomas first. Do you have any additional testimony or witnesses that you'd like us to hear from today?
Yes, Your Honor, I'd like to call Miss Linda Edwards.
Okay, Ms. Linda Edwards, coming up to our witness stand.
Swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Careful to step there.
I have read so many of your reports. It's nice to see you in person. All right, Ms. Thomas, whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Thank you for being here today with us, Miss Edwards. We very much appreciate all of the work you do for all of our families that we work with. And yes, we read all of your reports. So thank you so much for documenting everything you do as well. Today, I just have a couple of questions about some of the work you've done with Miss Lomas. Were you present during a family team meeting this month?
Yes.
And during that meeting, I think you were asked quite offensively if you were trained and or had any skills to work with individuals who might have intellectual
I object
impairments.
to offensively, Your Honor. I don't think that any questions were offensive that were asked.
You're welcome to cross-examine Mr. McFarland when we get there. Ms. Thomas? You may need to get back to your question.
Yes, Ms. Edwards, during that family team meeting, you were asked if you even had experience or work or training, I'm sorry, to work with individuals who have intellectual impairments of any kind. And I don't believe you're able to answer that, but for the record, can you please state what your answer would have been?
I just have lots and lots of experience from doing this job for 23 years. And before that, I had foster children, and I have handicapped children.
And are you familiar with, I guess, specialized ways or tools to teach, communicate, and work with individuals who have intellectual impairments or cognitive impairments?
I have a lot of experience with that, yes.
Okay. And have you had to rely on your experience in order to work with Ms. Lomas?
Yes.
Some of the reasonable accommodations or the request for reasonable accommodations include things like providing feedback frequently, providing written and or verbal instructions, giving an option to sort of take a pause when she's overwhelmed, and using plain language. During your time with her, have you utilized those types of accommodations?
All but written.
And is there a reason you haven't utilized written instructions for her?
Basically, when I'm with Ms. Loomis, we do more hands-on hands. I'll explain to her what we should be doing or how to do something, and then let her do it. This is her visitation, so I want her to do as much as she can without having to read things.
Did you often review materials that were taught or that Ms. Lomas might have learned in her service with orchards?
We didn't do so much of orchards, no. We've talked more with what she's been doing in CPC.
Okay. And what are some of the concerns that you have at this point in time about Ms. Lomas and her ability to parent her child?
She struggles with things that, like the next step, like he's going to be walking, and what is that? How is he going to be safe, and how do we work through that? We just went over not too long ago choking because he pulled a piece of her necklace off and put it in his mouth. Basic things. Jackie does ask questions.
Please continue. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Jackie does ask me questions, and sometimes she listens, sometimes she doesn't.
And do you feel that you have a good rapport with her?
I think so.
And do you have any concerns about her ability to retain knowledge and the instructions that you've provided?
If we talk about something this week, it might take her a few weeks to do it. And then the next week she can probably do it, but then she does kind of forget sometimes and has to be reminded.
Are there other ways that well, let me reword that. Can you walk us through what it might look like in a parenting time if she were struggling? I think some of the reports have throughout the case have indicated like struggling with changing clothing, or a diaper, it still takes like 20 to 30 minutes.
Those have come very, very far. She's doing really well with those, but she struggles with keeping him still while she's trying to change the diaper. She did learn a different technique, I think on YouTube or on a video she watched, and it looks really odd when somebody walks in the room, but it works for her. So I'm just, not my way is always the right way. There are a lot of different ways, and they're all right. So this works for Jackie. I'm letting it go because it's not a wrong way. It's just a different way. She can get him dressed now pretty well. We do sometimes have to talk about size of clothing or size of diapers. And a lot of times once she gets done, she is kind of out of breath from fighting with him because he keeps rolling and wants to get away and doesn't want to lay there.
And how do you support her as the parent aide when that situation is happening?
If she is, and we haven't had this for a while, like put his arm in his shirt wrong, I'll say, Jackie, let's not do it that way. How about if we try this way so that we don't hurt him? The baby has a large head, and sometimes getting a shirt over his head is a struggle. And I'll say, well, what else do you have? Because that shirt's not going to go over his head, because he does have a big head. And she usually does bring a couple outfits. So she'll say, oh, okay. And she'll change then, what she's putting on him. If the outfit's too small, I'll say, we have something bigger. Let's talk about size.
Okay. And to be clear, there's no concern about her love for this child, correct?
Oh, she absolutely loves this baby with all her heart. Absolutely. She gives him so many hugs and kisses, and she tells him she loves him. She sings to him during the visits. She reads to him.
Do you believe that she'd be ready for unsupervised parenting time right now?
No.
And why not?
I would just be afraid for his safety at this point.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit? What safety you're referring to?
like when he put the necklace in his mouth, the part of the necklace in his mouth, I said, Jackie, he's chewing on something. And she just kind of looked at me and said no. And then I seen him chewing again, and I finally had to put my finger in his mouth to take this piece of necklace out. So little stuff like that, he wouldn't be really safe.
I know at one hearing, there was a lot of testimony about feeding, and I'm not sure if you were present, but are there any concerns at this point in time about her ability to track his feeding and know when he's hungry, pick up on his cues, feed him appropriate foods in a timely manner?
We have worked for many months on the 4-hour part, and she's got that down now. But then now we're talking, because if he's had a bottle at like 10 o'clock and then he had food at 11, he's probably not going to want a bottle in 4 hours. So let's talk about, when he might, or and now she'll say, well, he might not even want a bottle this visit. So we do talk about that.
Is she able to understand and I guess comprehend the need for flexibility in that regard?
She is getting there, yes.
Okay. Well, Ms. Edwards, I have no further questions for you. Thank you.
Questions, Mr. McFarland?
Have you attended any work programs or anything regarding what you do as far as a parent aide?
No. Just lots and lots and lots of experience.
Nothing has been offered to you by Protective Services, CPS?
No.
I have nothing further.
Mr. Noe?
Thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Edwards. Thank you for being here. Ms. Edwards, what is your current profession? How would you describe it?
Visitation specialist, parent aide.
Okay. You're not like a psychologist or licensed
No.
professional. Okay, fair enough. I understand. And you say you have experience working with people with cognitive disabilities. Is that correct?
Yes.
So you have the ability to supervise and be a parent aide for people with those kind of disabilities, but you got no specific training for that, correct?
Correct.
All right, that's all through experience.
Yes.
Great. Would you say that your role during the visits is to mainly to observe and ensure the safety and report back to the court?
That's part of it. Yes. Yes.
Is your primary role to provide any sort of like therapy or coaching or anything like that, or skill instruction?
No therapy, no.
Okay.
I do give instruction when needed.
Were you ever instructed by DHS to use any specific methods for Ms. Lomas?
No. I guess I don't really understand the question.
That's fair. Did you ever discuss with DHS my client possibly having cognitive disabilities?
Yes.
When was that conversation?
A year ago.
Now, would you agree that she has consistently attended her parenting time?
Absolutely, she has.
And she's, I guess, tell me if I'm wrong, but has she not been on time or made reasonable efforts to be there timely?
She's early, and if she's
Okay.
going to be late because the buses are running late, she calls me, and then I arrange to go pick her up to bring her to the visits.
Okay. So you'd say she's very enthusiastic?
Yes, she is.
All right, great, thank you. During the visits, she's attentive towards the child, correct?
Absolutely.
Is she allowed to bring like outside things like food or toys or anything, or no?
She brings toys all the time. She brings everything she needs for the visit.
Okay, all right. And she's always prepared for the visits?
Yes,
She's engaged, is she engaged with the child during visits?
yes.
And would you say that she's demonstrated affection and bonded with the child?
She shows him a lot of affection, yes, and she's very invested in this child, yes.
Okay. Does it seem like the child has a bond with her?
There is a bond,
Right.
yes, but he also likes to crawl up to me and pull himself up to my legs and wants me to pick him up. And when he does, I say, you need to go play with mama, go play with your mama. And she's right there next to me and she'll take him then.
Okay. I mean, you see this child just as much as his mother does, correct?
Correct. No, she goes to doctor's appointments and I don't.
That's very fair. And you would agree under corrections that you were asked earlier by Ms. Thomas that she obviously loves this child very much. Would you agree
Yes, she
with that?
does.
Now, the parenting time visits, those are only a couple hours, right?
2 hours twice a week.
Would you agree that 2 hours is a very limited window into her ability to parent?
Until we go to the next steps, this is a good amount of time.
Do you believe that your sessions with Jackie and with the baby and yourself, that she has improved over time?
She has improved.
Do you think she shows a willingness to keep improving?
I think, yes, she does.
You said she's able to, she's got the feeding times and amount for formula, all that stuff. She's got that all straightened out, right?
For when he's going to eat again, yes. We did struggle one time, but she got it. She's doing very, very well with figuring that out. But now his feeding is going to change because he'll be going off formula and there's a different feeding. So now we have to learn something new.
Are you aware that Jackie's also doing classes with Care Pregnancy Center?
Yes,
Based on what you see, you think she's benefited from those too? If you know,
I don't know.
That's gonna guess. That's perfectly fine. You said did she watch some sort of video or something on YouTube or something? You said that she was
Yes.
changing.
Yes.
How do you know that? Did she talk to you about that or something?
She'll tell me, I've seen this on YouTube and this is what they said, and then we'll talk about it.
Is that something Jackie does often? Can I go out on her own to try to learn parenting skills on her
Yes.
own?
Yes,
That's not a good thing, you think?
I didn't say it wasn't a good thing.
I'm not saying it's not either, but would you say it's a good thing that she's kind of taking on her own initiative?
It is, depending on what she's picking up from YouTube.
Okay, well, that's also a very good point. That's a big, but this skill, particularly the changing, you think it works for her, right?
It works for her.
All right,
I was a little concerned the first time I seen it,
yeah.
and I got up and I kind of looked to make sure the baby wasn't being hurt, but it works.
Is he just kind of a wiggly boy when anybody tries
He's
to
a
change him?
normal toddler.
Yeah,
And
okay.
toddlers do not lay still.
Okay, all right, fair enough. I want to come back to the feeding thing, the feeding point. So you don't get access to the court reports written by Protective Services, do you?
No,
Okay, fair enough. If there's something in a court report that said Ms. Lomas continues to not be able to calculate feeding times and amount of formula for feedings, would you say that's not true, that she can do that?
I would probably say when this report was wrote, that was probably pretty accurate.
If this report was wrote back a week ago, would that be accurate back then?
No, but I can say that Eva and I hadn't talked about that, and I had told her when she asked me for updates that that was an issue. This, where she's now been able to figure out 4 hours, it's just been in the last maybe 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay.
And Eva doesn't have my reports since then. I turn them in once a month.
Right, fair enough. What, excuse me, so is that one of those improvements that she's made, with the feeding times and things like that?
Yes,
Okay, all right.
but we've also worked on that for almost a year.
No further questions, thank you.
Ms. Underwood.
Ms. Edwards, is the level of instruction that you provide to Jackie, is that typical, the typical type of involvement you have with most of your parenting time? Or strike that, is the level of instruction that you provide to Jackie, is that consistent with the type of parenting instruction that you typically have in your parenting aid business?
I give more to Jackie, but it depends on, because I do have a lot of special needs parents. So I do the same with all of them. Work on whatever the need be, and the needs come up as the visit's going. So we work on whatever that need is that at that visit so that she can learn from it.
But would you say that for Jackie specifically, that how hands-on are you in visits?
Now that he's crawling all over, not as much as when he was an infant, but still. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. So are you saying basically that, but when he was not mobile, you had to be more hands-on to help with Jackie with parenting?
Yes.
Okay. Now that the child is more mobile, are there other things that you need to teach Jackie in order to keep the child safe?
There will be more coming up as he's more and more mobile, yes.
Now, you said you've been assisting Jackie for almost a year now with parenting time?
It is when he was removed, I was the first one that started working with her, yes.
Okay. And calculating feeding times has been an ongoing issue for this entire process, correct?
Up until recently, yes.
Okay. Now, if, for example, the child were to go from a 4-hour to a 6-hour, every 6-hour bottle schedule, would that become an issue that needed to be relearned or taught to Jackie again?
We've never tried that, so I'm not sure.
Has it always been 4 hours?
Yes.
Okay. Has the amount of ounces changed?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And when the ounces change, does that become an issue with calculations or knowing how much to feed the child?
I guess I don't really understand the question.
Is making the bottles an issue for Miss Lomas? If you told her she needed to make a 6-ounce bottle, would she know how to prepare that?
I'm not sure.
Prior reports have indicated on occasion issues with Miss Lomas's hygiene. Is that still an issue at all?
The last couple of weeks, it's been good.
Okay. When there have been issues with hygiene before, can you describe what that would it be, what the issues were?
A couple times she got next to me and she smelled, and there's her knees and elbows are really black.
And you do offer Jackie rides home as well from visits, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, is that every week?
Yes. I think I've had to tell her one time that I couldn't, and I told her the week before that I wouldn't be able to give her a ride that day because I had another visit right after.
Okay.
So that she could prepare for that.
Now, do you believe there would be a risk of harm to the child if he were to be returned to Jackie?
At this time, yes.
I don't believe I have any other questions. Thank you very much.
All right, and redirect, Ms. Thomas?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. McFarland, any recross?
No, thank you.
Mr. Noah?
Just one question. Would you agree that if you had more time to work with Jackie and with baby, she could continue to show improvement, continue to build skills?
I believe she would show improvement, but I'm not sure how long it would take before she'd be able to have him unsupervised.
Is that something you have the capability to work with her on towards that goal?
I don't know.
Okay, that's fair enough. Thank you.
Any recross? Ms. Underwood?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you so much for your testimony, your time this afternoon.
Thank you.
You're all set. Any objection to her being excused?
No, thanks.
No.
Very well, you're welcome to be on with your day. Okay, Ms. Thomas, any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Noe, Mr. McFarland, any preference on who goes next?
First.
Sure, I can. Sure. Sure. This time I call my client.
Very good. Ms. Lomas, come on up to our witness stand.
You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Step
Come on
two,
up
be
to our
careful.
witness stand. Whenever you're ready, Mr.
Thank you. Can you please state your name for the record, please?
Jackie
What's your last name?
Lois,
Jackie, how old are you?
25.
Can you tell the court a little bit about your education history? Like, did you graduate high school, for example?
I graduated high school. I've been to college.
Did you finish college degree, or did you just have some college classes?
I've taken a couple of college classes, but I've never finished.
Okay, all right. When DHS first gave you your case service plan, did they explain it in detail what they wanted you to do?
I don't really believe so.
Did anyone from DHS sit down and explain it to you in, simple, plain language terms?
No.
Did they ever use any sort of pictures or examples to show you the things they wanted you to do?
No.
Did you feel frustrated or anything with trying to read the plan, understand the plan on your own?
I felt overwhelmed.
Did you ask DHS or anybody to help you understand it, have more information about it?
No.
Okay. Did you want to do everything in the case service plan so your child could come home to you?
Yes.
Did you do your parenting classes at CPC?
Yes.
How many classes have you done through CPC?
Since he's been taken, well, actually, before, since I was pregnant.
Okay. So you did some of those things on your own initiative, is that right?
Yes.
And did you attend the classes there?
Sorry, can you rephrase that?
Sure. Did you attend the classes at CPC?
Yes.
Okay. Were they in person or are they like virtual?
At first they were virtual, but they became in person since the time that he was taken.
Okay, all right. How about counseling? Have you gone to counseling?
Yes.
All right. Is Kim your counselor?
Yes.
Did you attend all your parenting time visits?
Yes.
Was there times when you struggled to finish your CPC class because you didn't understand it, or were you able to get all that done?
No, I've gotten all my homework and everything done.
Did CPS ever give you extra time to learn the skills in the classes, or no?
No.
Were some of the classes, were they group or they one-to-one or both?
One-to-one.
Was that at CPC?
Both.
Do you know if DHS ever provided training for the providers to help people like you?
No.
Did anyone from did you ever have conversations from CPS about how you learn the best?
Can you rephrase that?
Sure. Did you ever have a conversation with CPS about the ways in which you are able to learn information?
No.
Do you believe that you have benefited from the CPC classes?
Yes.
Why do you say that?
Basically, the videos, more with the videos that they have shown, the questions that they would ask me afterwards, and conversations that we talk about after the class, and the conversations that we have talked about with the videos, about the videos basically, and about the what we have learned.
Okay. When's the first time you had a conversation with CPS about accommodations to help you learn better?
I don't recall.
Have you been strike that question? When you go to the parenting times that with Linda Edwards, do you are you attentive towards your child during those?
Yes.
Do you think you have a bond with him?
Yes.
Why do you say that?
He smiles at me. I make animal noises towards him, and he makes sounds at me. I'll make sounds towards him and he'll make them back. I play with him. He at one of the visits, when I was changing him, he had called me mama. So that is why.
Okay. What kind of things did you do to show your child your love and care?
I read to him, I sing to him, I hold him a lot, I kiss him, I give him lots of hugs, he'll give me hugs back, he'll he'll sing with me, or attempts to, I should say.
Okay. When you were working with the department, interacting with Ava, and some other providers, did you try your best to follow what the workers and providers told you?
Can you repeat that?
Sure. When you were working with the department and with providers, people like Linda, did you try your best to follow what they were saying?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever feel like those things were explained to you in a way that was confusing or hard to follow?
Yes.
Why do you say that?
Sometimes like I would ask Linda questions. I would ask Linda some questions, and sometimes she would not give me any clear answers on any questions that I would ask.
And were you given clear answers when you asked for those, or no?
I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry.
Were you
what?
given clear answers when you asked for that?
No, I was not given any clear answers.
Did you ask for people to explain things more simply or in a different way, perhaps?
Yes, I was at, yes.
Did the department ever give you kind of pictures or examples to help you remember what to do?
Orchards did give me pictures, like notebooks, or like kind of like little notebooks or whatever that I could take home. Sometimes, and like quizzes like from the notebooks. So yes, Orchards did, but
would you agree with me that you have some anxiety?
yes.
Okay. And is that one of the ways that you're working with Kim to address that anxiety?
Yes.
Okay. Does this whole court process give you anxiety?
Yes.
Okay. And are you willing to keep working with the department if services are explained to you in a way that works better for you?
Yes.
What does it mean to you to have the chance to see and, more importantly, raise your child?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Sure. Let me ask a different way. How important is it to you to have the chance to raise your child?
Very important.
And what are you willing to do to earn that right?
I'm willing to do whatever it takes.
If the judge wanted you continue working with the department to work on things like parenting skills and classes, are you willing to continue doing that?
Yes.
You understand that today is the day that possibly terminate your parental rights, is that correct?
Yes.
And that's also today possibly Dakota terminate his parental rights too, right?
Yes.
If the judge were to let you keep your parental rights and Dakota unfortunately lost his, would you be willing to move and move with your mom so that so she can be with you and help you with the baby?
That would be something that I would have to do, yes.
Okay. No further questions. Thank you.
Okay, cross-examination, Ms. Thomas?
Hey, Ms. Lomas. Do you have a hard time remembering things?
Not so much.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Not so much.
Do you remember testifying in court before?
Last court, you mean? Or,
Anytime since this case has been open, do you remember the times you've testified?
yes,
And do you remember your prior attorney, Mr. Mike Brooks, asking you if you had any disabilities?
yes,
And what was your answer to him?
yes,
Okay, so you did not testify that you don't have any disabilities, that you're able to read, and that you didn't need accommodations?
I said that I had anxiety and ADHD.
But you're able to read, correct?
Yes, I'm able to read.
Okay, and so let's try that. Do you recall meeting with your first caseworker, Karen, about your case service plan?
I don't recall.
So you don't recall back in October of 2024 signing a case service plan indicating you understood what was expected of you?
Mm,
It's okay if you don't remember.
I don't recall.
Okay. Do you recall having family team meetings with Karen or Eva to go over potential services that you might need?
Can you rephrase that?
Have you ever met with Eva or Karen and other people from the department to go over any services that you might have to participate in?
Yes, I mean, I remember, going over, about my visitation,
Are you done answering? I don't want to interrupt you.
I don't really. I don't really, no, I don't really recall.
But in your testimony with Mr. Noe, you stated affirmatively, meaning you said it, in fact, that no one from the department went over your case service plan with you. But to me, you're stating that you don't recall. Do you recall, or did no one go over it with you?
I don't believe so.
You don't believe so what?
I don't believe anybody went over it.
Can you help us understand why you would sign your name to a case service plan that no one reviewed with you?
Ms. Thompson, sorry for the interruption, but Jackie, do you know what she means when she says the case services
Yeah, I
plan?
know what she means, but I don't remember. I don't remember going over it at all. I don't remember going over that.
Okay, that's fine. And there was a couple questions that I just wanted some clarification on. Mr. Noe asked if CPS had given you extra time to learn skills in classes. What classes did CPS give you?
I'm not sure what you're asking.
You testified with Mr. Noe that CPS did not give you extra time to learn skills in classes. And I am wondering what classes CPS gave you. What classes did you attend with CPS?
Are you referring to the visits? I wouldn't even know what you're asking.
That's what I'm trying to understand. Mr. Noe asked you, has CPS given you extra time to learn skills in classes? You replied, no. What classes did you take from CPS that they did not give you extra time to learn skills?
I haven't taken any classes from CPS.
Okay.
There was no classes, there was only visits.
Okay. Then he asked you, in the classes from CPC or from CPS, were they always in groups or one-on-one? And you said that they were one-on-one at both. What were you referring to when you said both?
Orchards and Linda. Orchards, Linda, and CPC.
Okay, so there were 3 services that you received one-on-one instruction from, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And at the Care Pregnancy Center, have they provided you with extra time to go over questions from videos that you watched?
No.
Do they stop the videos and ask if you are understanding what the videos are going over?
They've said that they have, they told me that they could stop the videos, but not ask me if I understand them.
Okay. Have you ever told anyone, sorry about that. Have you ever told anyone at Care Pregnancy Center that you don't understand anything that you were learning on those videos?
No.
During your time with Miss Edwards, you testified that she has not answered questions in a clear manner. Can you give us an example?
I have asked her about what size he would go up to next. When he was 12 months, and she would not, before he was 18 months in size, I would ask, I asked her when he would go up to the next size, and she did not give me a she did not give me a clear answer on when he would go up to the next size. She basically just said whenever he grows, whenever he gets up to the next size.
Why was that not a clear answer for you?
Because he was because I had wanted to know when he would what clothes I needed to bring to the visit next, what size clothes I needed to bring to the visit next. So I could not have a smaller size in case he's already grown out of that size.
During family team meetings, do you know what I'm referring to when I say family team meetings?
Yes. What are they? FTMs, family team meetings. Basically means that we have before every court.
And who's usually present during the FTMs?
Usually my attorney or my Dakota, Ava, Dakota's attorney, my counselor, Ava, you.
And during, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say the attorney ad litem.
And during those meetings, are you asked if you understand what is being discussed?
Yes.
And how do you reply?
Yes. I let my, I usually let my, lately I've let my counselor reply for me.
And in other conversations with Eva or Linda or your orchards worker or people at Care Pregnancy Center, when they ask if you understand things, how do you reply?
Yes.
What else could the department, well, let me just ask this question. Do you believe that you could take care of your child on your own right now?
Yes.
What food is he eating as a 1-year-old?
He's eating formula, bananas, He tried cake for the first time. He's eating strawberries. He's eating like what was it again? Like strawberry yogurt. I would say he's eating he's eating like applesauce.
I'm going to just interrupt you because you're listing off a lot of foods. So he is in between formula and some solids, correct?
Yeah, some salads,
Okay.
basically.
Okay. And at his age, are there concerns for choking hazards?
There was an incident with my necklace where he did put it in his mouth. Both Linda and I didn't notice that he had put it in his mouth at the time.
Jackie, I'm asking just general development at his age. Are there concerns about choking hazards at his age?
No, I wouldn't say so. If he puts stuff in his mouth, he could get hurt. He could get hurt with putting stuff in his mouth. Like if he crawls with it, it could like give him like a cut, like something like that. But like it wouldn't like no, he like I would say like no, if he's crawling with it, yes. But not if he's staying still.
If the court were to return the child to your home today, what would he see? What would your home look like to him?
He would a cat, furniture, baby gate, lots of toys, a crib, lots of books.
Where do you have that baby gate at? Or where would it need to go? Sorry.
There's two.
Okay.
There's one in the kitchen and there's one in like the hallway. We have one in the kitchen and like one in the hallway.
And who would be in his home?
Dakota and my mom. Dakota and my mom are there.
And where would he sleep? Where would his crib be?
Right next to our room.
In a different room or in your room or in the hall?
Right basically right next to our room. Like right near our room, in a different room, but like we could still see him. Like basically like there's two doors. There's like two doors And like we could still see him, like there's, it's a weird setup. Our house is like a weird setup. It's, Dakota calls it a cheese home.
Okay. And do you think that you struggled to change him, whether that's his clothes or his diaper?
No. He does move a lot, but that's normal for a toddler.
Do you think that you understand his cues, like when he's fussy?
Yes.
How do you know when he is hungry?
When it hits like the 4-hour mark, let's say like he ate like, no, they say like, no, he ate at 7, it's 11. They'll usually start to cry, or he'll usually start to cry and kind of reach for the bottle around that time. So I'll ask if he's hungry, and he'll start to reach for the bottle, and I'll ask if he's hungry. Thank you.
Okay. And how is that different than when when he needs to have a diaper change?
Usually when he has a diaper change, he's usually more like heavy, or I usually just smell him, and he just like kind of like smells like he needs to have a diaper change.
So he does not get fussy when he needs a
No.
diaper change?
No.
Does he cry when he's tired?
Yeah, yes. Well, he kind of yawns a lot more when he's tired, and he does he usually yawns a lot more when he's tired.
So, Ms. Lomas, what else could the department or anyone you've worked with, what else could they have done to help you? I'm going to strike that question. Let me ask a preliminary question here. Do you think that you need any other help to be a safe parent for your child?
I'm not sure. I already no.
So you don't need any other help?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay. I have no further questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Any questions, Mr. McFarland?
Yeah, so what do you think your biggest strengths are as a mom? What are the best things that you can do for your baby as a mom?
My love for my child.
How do you show your love to your son?
Giving him lots of affection, reading to him, showing him that I care, by giving him his basic needs.
Are you a little bit perhaps scared and nervous being up there every day?
A little bit.
Yeah. Has your mom been living with you since we were in court the last time?
She's gone back to Washington, since we were in court the last time. She's only come back recently.
Okay, thanks. Are things a little bit calmer when they're not there?
I mean, they're about the same, and I mean, she's, when she's here, she's just around.
Let me rephrase it. Is Dakota maybe a little bit calmer with her out there?
I mean, there has been no issues, I would say.
Okay. Good. I have nothing further.
Jackie, what disabilities do you believe you have?
Anxiety, ADHD, depression, epilepsy.
Do you believe that you have a learning disability?
I had a in high school, I had a
You have an IEP?
yeah, an IEP.
Okay. Is that why you're on SSI?
I don't know. I don't really know.
Are you able to work?
No.
Why not?
Because of my anxiety and my epilepsy.
How much do you receive every month for SSI?
I think it's about 1,600. It changed this month, so it changed this year, so I haven't really gotten a chance to look at the paper, look at it so far.
Do you handle your own finances?
Huh?
Do you handle your own finances?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a payee for SSI?
Yes.
Okay. Who is that?
My mom.
Do you believe that you have a low IQ?
I'm not really sure.
Do you believe that the IQ testing was accurate?
I guess I'm gonna reject based on lack of foundation, lack of qualification, my claiming the answer to that, whether it's accurate or not, whether it was done properly or not. My client's not, she takes the test, I don't know how she's supposed to qualify if it's accurate or not, she's not an expert in this thing, so how would she know if it's accurate?
Did you like to respond?
I'm just asking for belief in her own testing. I think it's a fair question.
Anybody else want to weigh in on this?
No.
Yeah, and I agree with Ms. Underwood. I believe that the question was about her own belief and her own opinion. And so I think it's a fair question to ask.
Well, furthermore, the issue has been raised as to whether or not Ms. Loomis has acknowledged that she needs additional services as a result of potentially identified concerns in that area as a result of 2 different tests. And that was discussed as recently as today. So I am interested in her answer. Ms. Underwood, I'm going to overrule the objection. May you please repeat the question?
Do you believe that the testing, IQ testing that was part of your psyche eval was accurate?
I wouldn't really know.
You indicate that, or your attorney has indicated that accommodations have not been appropriately made for you. Do you say that's accurate?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Your attorney has stated that proper accommodations have not been made by the department on your behalf. Would you agree with the fact you don't believe that accommodations have been made for you?
Yes.
Why do you need accommodations?
To better help my, to help with my parenting skills.
But what?
Because I'm disabled, because I will have a disability, and because it's required under ADA law.
So what disability under the ADA are we not accommodating? Is the department not appropriately accommodating?
I mean, I have I have anxiety. I have anxiety and epilepsy, and I've established many times I have anxiety.
So what could the department have done differently to accommodate your anxiety that they have not done? It's okay if you're not sure, or I can give you more time to answer if you need it.
I'm not sure what you're asking.
I'm asking you, what could the department have done to accommodate your anxiety if you're saying the department hasn't given you the proper accommodations?
I'm not sure.
No further questions.
Okay, any redirect?
Briefly, thank you. Jack, you were asked questions from the department's attorney about the case service plan. When I say case service plan, do you remember what that document is?
I believe so.
Okay.
I don't really.
Do you remember signing a case service plan?
Yes, I do.
Um,
I don't think I have it here with me today.
when you signed it, did you believe you were supposed to sign it?
I don't really know if I was supposed to sign it. I was told I was supposed to sign it.
Do you feel pressured to sign it?
No, I was just told that I was supposed to sign it.
Did anyone from the department ever sit down with you and carefully explain what those steps included on the case service plan?
I don't really believe so.
Okay. Would that have helped if somebody would have sat down and helped you with that, read through that?
I mean, I'm sorry, can you rephrase that?
Yes. Would it have helped if somebody from the department would have sat down with you and looked at that case service plan and explained it in simple language to you?
I mean, it might have.
Thank you, thank you. Um. You were asked, actually by 2 attorneys now, if you're disabled or if you have a disability. Do you know what that question means when somebody asks you that question?
Yes.
What does that question mean to you?
It means that basically if I have like a functioning like a mental or like a mental or physical disability, and stating like if I can think or walk properly or something like that, or if somewhat of that nature.
And you explained, like questions from both attorneys, that you do not believe you have a disability. Is that correct?
I've stated that I do have a disability.
Okay, all right. Do you think that disability, restrict that question. Did you find things that the department wanted you to do or explaining in your ways that were confusing or hard to follow?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Sure. Did some of the things the department wanted you to do that they were explained to you, were those things hard to understand or follow?
Sometimes.
Okay. Do you believe instructions could have been given that would have been easier for you to follow and understand?
Yes.
Do you I'm gonna strike that question as well. Do you think it would help you better understand what the department wants from you if there was somebody on the family team who can work with you with the department on coordinating your accommodations based on your disability?
Yes.
Has there been a person like that on the family team thus far?
Not to my knowledge. No.
No further questions.
All right, any recross, Ms. Dennis?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. McFarland?
I do briefly. We may have used some words that you're not real familiar with. You may not know what they mean. We've used the word anxious and anxiety. Can you tell us what anxiety means to you?
Basically, I like, you could see now, like, I'm like playing with my fingers. That's like me being nervous. Like when I'm like playing with my necklace, like, that's me being nervous. That's like little tics that I do when I'm like, anxious or like nervous. Sometimes I'll have like, a panic attack when I'm like, or I call it like, it's more like, an anxiety attack, like a panic attack. I haven't had those a lot, like I haven't had those in a while, but I'll get like, overwhelmed, and I'll have I'll have like a panic attack and hyperventilate or go to like my sometimes like my arms would feel like dirt cold, like shivering, or stutter a lot, like.
Have you ever had these things happen to you when you met with Linda Edwards or with CPS, your worker?
When I'm in a family team meeting, with like Ava, when like I'm in a family team meeting, when Ava was asking me questions about things, usually I stutter a lot, or I'll pause when she's asking me questions. Like, for example, not this family team meeting, but the last family team meeting, I couldn't answer a question because I was having like an anxiety attack.
Okay. I noticed you took some time answering some questions today. Are you a little nervous right now?
A little bit.
Okay, thanks. Being truthful. So question is, let's say when you have family team meetings, what could we do so you don't feel nervous, so you don't have these panic attacks? What are some of your maybe ideas?
Usually, usually I don't ask it, but if like I could step out out
Take
of
a
the
breather,
room.
you mean?
Huh?
Take a breather, step out?
Yeah,
Okay. Take a little break.
yeah.
Anything else?
I mean, that's it.
Has anybody ever asked you that question like I've asked you right now?
No.
Okay. I have nothing further.
Any additional cross-examination, Ms. Underwood?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. You may return to your seat. All right, we're at 4:00, ladies and gentlemen. Do you have additional witnesses for us today, Mr. Noe?
I do not.
Mr. McFarland?
I do, my client.
Very good. Do you feel that a half an hour is enough time for that?
Can we?
Or would you like me to look at a different day?
I think we'll need more than half an hour.
Yeah.
Your Honor. Let me just.
Mr. Herman, please try not to interrupt.
I think we're on the same page that we're gonna need more than half hour realistically, Your Honor.
All right. Well, would you all like to rejoin me in the morning, tomorrow morning, or Wednesday morning? I have time either morning. At 9. Tomorrow being the third.
Unfortunately have neither of those available to me.
All right, Friday afternoon, beginning at 1:30.
Just checking my calendar, Your Honor.
That would be this coming Friday, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Are you available then?
Yes, I am.
Okay,
I am free. What time was that?
Well, I would only have from 1:30 to 3:30, if that would be enough time. 2:30 enough time, gentlemen, ladies?
I think it'd be enough time.
Till 3:30, we have till 3:30? I mean, it's up to you.
Oh, I think that'd be enough time for, yeah, I think that'd be sufficient.
Very well. Let's go to Friday, August, well, I could do the morning too, if you prefer the morning.
I prefer the morning,
Are you available, Mr. Noe, at 9?
On Friday morning? No, I'm not available at all Friday morning, just in the afternoon.
Very well. All right. Well, let's do 1:30 then in the afternoon. Ms. Underwood, are you available?
I am, yes, Ron.
Okay, 1:30 PM on Friday, August 22nd. We'll resume and hopefully finish the third review, permanent survivor hearing, and the hearing request for termination of parental rights. All prior orders will remain in full force and effect during the continuation. Unless there's any questions, that'll be all for today.